everybody. Any chance you might know what time it is? That's a trick question because we all know it's time once again for the long shot come hell or high water. Tonight's episode is entitled The Owls Washed the Kitchen Floor. That's right, tonight's episode is entitled The Owls Washed the Kitchen Floor. I hope there's a reason for that. Anyway, it's time to introduce the host of tonight's episode. You know her, you love her, you're not her. Give it up for Amber McKinney.
Hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, buenas noches, good night. Welcome to the Long Shot Podcast. I don't know what I'm doing. Over to your host, Sean Conroy. Or am I not?
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I like that you said buenas noches. That's like a switch, that's like something different. It's nice to
mix it up.
It's nice to do something different every once in a while.
Yeah, I didn't get the script. So
I told my assistant to send it to you.
I've been doing a lot of Duolingo, so that's where that buenas noches comes from.
What language are you doing Duolingo in?
Spanish.
Oh, okay.
I took a picture of it. It made me laugh really hard because normally the sentences they have you translate are like quasi normal or like something
like things you would actually use.
Say. Yeah.
Not like high school Spanish where it's all like, where is the library? And
well, it is a lot of that, but that's still like
this is my watch.
Yeah. So this is the sentence they had me translate, and I was like, "Is this right?" But it was right. It's the owls washed the kitchen floor. What?
Oh, I love that because clearly whoever is making you do that is somebody who works in animation.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and about Cinderella.
I work in animation as well.
So do I. You can't get away. It's the only.
That's right. You do.
It's the only industry left.
Thank you, pandemic. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's fucking do this. We're doing the long shot. Joe is on assignment. Jamie is not even on assignment, just shirking his duty to the long shot. So in that sense, Joe holds the moral high ground. Jamie does not. And I hope that leads to controversy between them and people taking sides and eventually
battle to the death.
That would be nice.
A man can dream.
Who knows? I would like to be involved in the choice of weapons if that were the case. I've been watching.
Choose, or
I think that's a great question. No. Like let's figure out what we would choose. No. I'm saying that because I have been rewatching for at least the second time, possibly the third time. I'm guessing it might be the third time. A show called Spartacus on Stars.
That's like insane channel that you have.
Yeah. I have to figure out how to get rid of it because otherwise they're going to start charging me for it soon. It's like one of those things where I got it for free, right. And then you forget and they're like, yeah, well, it started being $79.99
every 5 minutes
2 months ago. Yeah.
Right.
So you owe $7,000. Like that is what's going to happen. I already know that's what's going to happen. But anyway, Spartacus obviously is about the famous Roman slave who led a rebellion against slavery. And there's a lot of it is like, well, I have so many things about this. First of all, it is insane to be watching it again. Like there's no reason for that. But I did see something over the course of the pandemic. Maybe it was in the Atlantic or something. And it was about why people watch the same TV shows or read the same books during difficult times. And it's like,
your brain can't process anything.
Yeah, you get some comfort from the familiarity of it. So So I apparently get comfort from the familiarity of Roman slavery. But
the good old days.
Back when men were men and women were women and all of them were slaves. But there's a lot of it is based in, like, Spartacus was a real guy, and some of the other characters on the show are real, based on real people, have the names of the real people that were involved with him. So every time I watch an episode and there's something weird that happens, I always
Google,
I look it up. I'm like, is this a real thing? Right. So there's a whole sequence. And obviously Spartacus was a gladiator. That was his job as a slave, was to fight other gladiator slaves.
It's so insane.
It's crazy. And it lasted for almost 1,000 years in Rome that was a thing they did.
That's a long time.
It's more than a lifetime. So there's a whole sequence in a number of episodes where whatever the gladiators that aren't doing that aren't working out in the arena in the Colosseum, because everything is about gambling too, the owner of the slave takes him into the pits, and they have fights in the pits, and the pits are different because anything goes in the pits, and it's like it's just savagery. It's like Roman orgy meets depraved people meets underground meets crazy outfits,
death match
meets, like, literally in the first, I think it's the first fight in the pits, his opponent, Spartacus, ends up in there, and his opponent is a guy who, when he kills people, he cuts their faces off and wears them for his next match. So anyway, I Googled
That's where they came up with the idea for that John Travolta Nick Cage movie.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but yeah. Sure. But the pits was not a real thing. Like I looked it up and I was like,
they're like, this isn't brutal enough. Yeah, we need to top it somehow.
How can we go farther with this? And the thing I read on Google basically said it's not real, but it seems like it could have happened, right?
Why
like we
not?
don't know it didn't happen.
People were bad.
and you do feel like, there is an element of, like, gambling and, like, if people are fighting to the death and that's just an accepted part of life and
that's entertainment,
then why wouldn't there be a place where people would be like, we're not going to do it in the big arena. We're just going to do it in this little pit. So come on VIPs. By. But anyway, one of the big moments in the pit fights is that there's a guy who's like, there's always that guy who's like, okay, we have this guy, and they're going to fight to the death. Yeah. The Michael Buffer of the pits. And right before they start fighting, he has somebody bring out a tub of stuff, and it literally is like a tub with, like, little, I don't even know what they're reading from, but they have to, each of the gladiators has to, or the people fighting has to reach in and pull out, and that tells them what weapons they're going to get for that particular
it's like
fight.
An improv game.
Right. They were short form, but
right. It's still improv.
Some of them very short form. They would have liked to have been longer form, but anyway, I think we should do that for Jamie and Joe, where
randomize it.
Here's Joe, here's Jamie. What weapons do they get? And I wish I knew the names of some, because there are very specific weapons that various gladiators. I think there were 7 classes of gladiators, and each of them had a different set of, like, armor and weapons. And so these guys in the pit are, like, using some of that, but then there's guys who get just, like, a glove with spikes on it, and that's their only weapon for the. So I would give that to Joe, the glove with spikes on it.
Okay.
And maybe give Jamie, I don't know. What would you give Jamie?
Is it a mace? The thing on a stick?
You're talking about, like, there's 2 versions.
Like a spiky ball on a stick.
Right. Because there's 2 versions of that. One is the one where there's just the spiky ball at the end of the stick. But then there's another one where there's a stick and a chain.
That's what I meant. Yes.
I believe, I could be mistaken, but this goes back to my old Dungeons and Dragons days.
Wow.
I believe that's called a morning star.
Oh,
that is
what
the
a
name of
beautiful name for.
Yes.
Yeah. The more I think about it, Joe and Jamie in particular are two very like gentle lambs. It would be wild to see them fighting.
It would have to be a situation where they had no choice.
Right.
Which is slavery. I mean, that's
right,
how it works. Because if you don't do what you're supposed to do, they'll crucify you. That was the other thing that they loved to do back then, was crucify people. Which apparently that's very uncomfortable as well. Like that is no great shakes. The old
I hope we talk about this Spartacus show for the entire episode. In a whole hour.
Well, I just can't wait till we get together in person and we can see Jamie and Joe fight to the death. Well, okay, so that's one thing I've been up to. What have you been up to this week, Ember?
Oh, great question. Great question. I mean, I guess I could give a smudgy update. I feel redundant, but it is like the biggest thing in my life.
We're in a weird time where nothing is happening. Nothing is going on. I don't.
And like no news is good news.
Right.
Sort of.
Right. Like things aren't getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting 100% better, 100% back to normal. A little bit, somewhat, bit by bit, but not 100%.
We did have, unless I was completely misunderstanding it, but I don't think so. There was like a town hall meeting virtually for DreamWorks Animation.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, we had a survey to see who wants to go back to the office and who wants to have like flexible work from home. And overwhelmingly, everyone doesn't want to come back to the office and wants flexibility. So we are all going back to the office. Like it felt like, why did we even take a survey if you weren't going to listen?
It sounds like the filibuster rule needs to be abolished.
Right.
If the minority gets to decide.
That isn't starting till September.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a slow rollout. And I have a feeling our department is absolute last. So I'm thinking I could make it work from home through 2021 at least.
Through the end of the year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I don't think, because they're starting in September and it's a slow rollout. And I just don't. And
slow
maybe
rollout or more like a slow roll
back in. Yeah. And maybe this is just my wishful thinking logic out of it all, but I can't imagine trying to do big readjustments and moves and stuff like that, like in the middle of the holidays. That seems crazy for anybody. You're
talking about like Thanksgiving, Christmas, that area?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, so definitely not.
I'm hoping
especially that's a problem anywhere, but I also feel like DreamWorks is part of the Hollywood system, and Hollywood shuts down from December 1st till February 1st. Nothing happens over those months. Sorry, we can't do it. It's the holidays, man.
Right.
It was just New Year's 4 weeks ago.
And then every email you do get after that is like, oh, sorry, just catching up. Like I'm real behind. It's like, okay, we'll catch up already because I did.
It's definitely weird though. Like we had a homeowners meeting for my building the other night, and we did it on Zoom. I feel like we're at the point where we could do it in person.
Right. But it's like also someone has to make the first move.
Right. And everybody is, I read again, I hate to be the guy who's like, I read an article, but everybody's like that at this point because all we're doing is sitting around reading articles. And this was somebody writing about going to the supermarket, and they're vaccinated, and the supermarket that they were going to, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but the supermarket they were going to is a chain supermarket run by someone who exchanges things with someone else back and forth. Like, you give me this, I give you that. And then
there's different brands within the brand that are themed to the
different nationalities. Yeah. And the first name is like a common first name. In fact,
and
maybe even a name shared by someone in this show.
Right, right. The parking is always bad. That's part of the business plan. Like
the company ethos. Yeah.
They're like, that parking lot's a little too big. Like, can we really take that in? Make it so that there's only one entrance, one exit, and
let's make it as difficult as possible.
Yes.
But they have dropped, I don't know if this is true in California, but in a lot of places they have said you're not required to wear a mask in the store anymore. You can come in without a mask as long as you are vaccinated.
But it's honor system.
Of course, like there's no way to prove that. And so the point of this person's article was that they were like with their partner and going, we are going to go to this store that rhymes with Mater Mose. And we know we don't have to wear masks. It's okay for us to go in without masks. Even if people are like, you should have a mask on, we know that we don't have to. What will that be like? And they said it was really nerve-wracking. People were giving them dirty looks.
I'm sure we've spent a year practicing doing that. Like it's habit at this point.
Right. And they went in and this person was like stuck to their guns and was like, and they didn't have a gun with them, don't worry.
Oh,
but they stuck to their guns and they were like, I'm gonna go around the store. And they realized as they were going around the store, they were like, oh, there are 1 out of every 10 people is not wearing a mask is okay. So, but they were super nervous the whole time and really, really stressed out about it, because they're, as we know, and they were saying like the science is if you are not in the store, but outside, you're fine to not wear a mask at this point. If you're vaccinated, like you're not going to, even without, it doesn't spread when you're outside really and distant from people. Right. And,
I was going to ask you about that because I kind of go back and forth. I'm not going a whole lot of places. I go for a walk, like literally around my block once a day if I'm lucky. And sometimes I wear a mask and sometimes I don't. And I think this is what you're getting at, but we're at a strange place that I feel like an asshole either way.
Right.
Like if I am wearing a mask and I happen to see someone who's not, it feels like I don't hate you, like it's fine. But if I'm not wearing a mask and there's a bunch of people wearing masks, I'm like, now I'm like what you're saying is I know the science is right, but I also want to be
considerate of other people.
Yes. And yes. And their feelings.
I agree with you 100%. I still think it's weird because if I wear a mask, I am doing something that there is no reason for me to be doing, except to reassure people who don't understand how science works,
Well, that's most of the people.
Of course. So here's my version, because I'm like, and I'm nervous about it too. And I'm like, I don't know if this is okay, whatever. Like, I don't want to be walking around and like, fuck you, I don't wear a mask, motherfuckers.
Right.
Because
I'm not like making a statement, is what I'm saying.
And the other part of it is, like you said, it's the honor system. So we don't know. Like I could be like, I'm vaccinated. I don't need to wear a mask. Fuck everybody. I'm just going to walk around without a mask on. But those people don't know that I'm not vaccinated. So, or that I am. Shit, did I just give it away that I'm not vaccinated? I think I did. That was.
I thought you had the card now. That forged card.
But people don't know. You don't know when you see somebody. Anyway, my way of dealing with this is one of the many masks I bought over the course of the what was it called? Pandemic. One of the masks I bought over the course of the pandemic is one that you can hang it around your neck and then put it up over your face. And so my compromise is that I wear it around my neck, knowing that I will 99 out of 100 times not put it on at any time if I'm out
if you feel
walking around.
like
well, it's there if I feel like, but it's also there because it signals to people
I care.
I am considering this.
Right.
This is important to me. I'm wearing this around my neck because I believe in masks.
It's literally virtue signaling.
Absolutely.
I do that. I've started just because it is nice to get fresh air and not wear a mask. So now what I do most of the time is not wear a mask, but I'll have it exactly what you're saying, but in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see a group of people with kids, because I know kids still can't really get vaccinated and they are wearing masks, I'll put it on just because it's like.
Also, kids are fucking germ vectors. Like, you don't want their germs.
Right.
You know?
I don't want their regular germs.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind COVID.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting.
It's going to take a while. And another part of it, of course, is it is in a sense like wearing a team jersey. It's like I'm on this team. I'm not on this team.
Right.
I'm with you guys, not with those guys. So.
Well, that's I guess that's the big overwhelming thing, and that's so lame. But it's like, I'm vaccinated, I'm safe, but I'm not with those guys like that.
And I don't take that into consideration, but I guess at some level that must be part of it, because otherwise, why would I even care in the first place?
Right.
I don't know. It's a
well, and even if. And I'm not, it sounds like I'm running into thousands of people. I might see one person on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
But
who was it?
Barbra Streisand.
Holy shit.
I know. But we still do, and I'm sure you're experiencing this, where even if we're both maskless, we see each other and sort of like make some room for each other. Like,
nope, not me.
Really?
I'm like, hit me, motherfucker.
Come at me.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, you step away from people. You kind of take a different path or whatever.
And I wonder if that's just going to be like sort of a permanent reflex to people on some level. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But if you go to somewhere crowded, there's
right.
nothing you could do.
Right, which I haven't done yet, but I'm sure it will happen at some point. I mean, this is another thing that I didn't read the article, but I saw, I don't know, like a headline or something.
That's most of our sources, headline or something.
But it was about the contrast between sports coming back versus live entertainment coming back. Okay. In other words, people are, Madison Square Garden was packed for the Knicks games all last week, but theaters are not opening up because we can't have that many people together in the same place at the same time. So it's this, and that's two different, like how, or I guess I should say, how is that different?
Right. And the people who are fans of those two things, what are different about those demographics?
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, like, why is it okay for these people and why is it not okay for these people? But I don't think it's those people's choice. It's that theaters are not opening up. Right, it's not like Jamie is out on the street going, extra, get your din tip experience. Come on in and what are those things called? Come on in and get a dynagram or a dynadam.
I mean, don't you think the answer is pretty obviously money? Like sports, there's so much money involved with like.
You think Jamie's not sitting on a pile of cash because of the Dynasty typewriter?
No, but I'm just saying I think there's enough lobbying.
Yeah,
forces
you're absolutely right.
That say that this is okay, and then the theater community doesn't really have that muscle.
Yeah. That's why I've been pushing for years that every improv team should get corporate sponsorships all over their
and a lobbyist, one dedicated lobbyist. I've been thinking about that a lot because I work for a movie studio. We also make TV shows, but I'd love
to get together sometime and tell you about some of my ideas.
Sure, I have no power. It's kind of a problem I'm trying to figure out.
That would be a step up for me.
But there's a lot of hand wringing, as you could imagine, about getting people back to movie theaters. And even just talking to good, close friends who are completely vaccinated, who have been completely vaccinated for a month, who go to restaurants now, who do this. They're like, I still don't feel comfortable going to a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, how could I put this? I don't understand, but I'm compassionate. I don't know how to communicate this. I understand where they're coming from, but I also cannot express the logic behind it.
You don't feel the same way, but you get why people would.
No, I might even feel the same way. I haven't been anywhere, but I can't express to you why doesn't it feel safe.
It doesn't make logical sense.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like science says it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. Science says it's fine, but your brain is saying one thing and your body's saying something else.
But and I don't know, it feels a little bit across the board that people feel that way. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just because you're just sitting in one place for such a long time. I'm truly asking. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't sound like you're asking. It sounds like you're telling. So I'm not.
No, I'm asking. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might be right. Like, there is an element of sitting in the same place for a period of time in an enclosed space that feels like you're trapped in a sense.
Freaky, yeah.
Yeah, because you haven't done that except in your own space for a year and a half.
Right. And I'm literally just coming up with these theories as we're talking. The fact that it's a dark room, I wonder.
By the way, that's how Einstein came up with the theory of relativity. He was like,
man, I'm almost there.
What if E? What if E?
What else is going on? What else is going on?
What if E equals MC squared? E equals MC squared. You know?
No, but that it's a dark room, meaning in a restaurant, you can at least see what the other freaky deaky people are doing. Like, you can keep an eye on them. And in a theater, people could, who knows?
The dark is a frightful place.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm wondering myself, but
ooh, this is making me feel worse.
What is?
Oh, I should have told you I'm sitting on a tack right now.
But I don't think I even checked in yet.
No, you were going to talk about smudgy. Sorry, that was like an hour ago. My bad.
No, not your bad. This is good. We need
stretch. Yeah.
Because I'm like, smudgy was good. End of episode, I guess.
Thank you. Tune in next week for more on smudgy.
No, I'll just give you the saga, the condensed version. We can explore any of these avenues deeper as you find interesting. But we came to the conclusion that we need real professional help.
For smudgy.
For smudgy. I mean, we probably do too, but that's a whole other conversation. And everything you read online is like, first thing you do is you call your vet. And so that's what we did. And the vet was like, great. Like,
it's 4:00 in the morning. Why are you calling me?
Well, it was Memorial Day, and so they weren't open. So we had to wait till the next day. And they were like, great. Like, I kind of thought that they would have him come in for an exam. I don't know why I thought that, and see if there's like a medical issue. But they're like, oh, great. Thanks for calling. Here's 2 phone numbers for dog behaviorists. Good luck. And we're like, okay. And both dog behaviorists, we ended up calling both, have a wait list.
Hello? You wanted to talk to me? I'm a guy, but I behave like a dog.
They they are booked and they have a wait list
Right.
and they might be able to get us in the end of August. And it's just like,
Listen, you got to tell that vet to stop having people. Can you call the vet back and tell him to stop recommending people? Because we're spending all our time on the phone telling people we're too full.
well, and it's I don't know. It was frustrating because everything is like, oh, this is an urgent issue. You got to handle this right away.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might be able to help you in 6 months. Like it's just like, ah. So we got on both those waiting lists. Also, they're insanely expensive.
Right.
Like insanely expensive.
I mean, that's just, supply and demand.
Right.
Like,
well, I was like, we should be dog behaviorists. Good Lord.
Absolutely.
So they're all on the west side. They're extremely expensive and they're not available till the end of the summer, basically. So we're like, great. We felt like we were making momentum. The place where we went to the puppy social where we were feeling kind of weird about the John Lennon-esque advice of like, look at them, but never look at them.
Oh, right. Yeah. When you said puppy social, I immediately flashed to like, and this is not a social. This is like, God, what do they call? Like a speed dating thing?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like the puppy just sits down across from another puppy and is like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm a mutt and I don't obey commands and I don't like leashes. How about you?
I always think of like an ice cream social or something. So I just see a bunch of puppies wearing like
I know
skirts.
the term. I don't even know what an ice cream social would be.
I think it's just you eat ice cream with other people.
I feel like that's just getting ice cream.
But I think it's like a party.
Oh, okay.
More than just like with one other person.
Folks, 2022, we will be looking forward to the first Long Shot Podcast Ice Cream Social.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But that is the place that because we also have a trainer that we go to at Petco. It's like now we have like a complicated web of experts involved in his life. And the person at Petco is the person who recommended the puppy social. And she also said with these issues, you should go to training with those same people at the puppy social. And we didn't like them initially.
And the puppy social was the thing where you felt like people were trying to sell you stuff, right?
I didn't feel like they were trying to sell us. It just felt like they were giving advice that was not actionable.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it was just like, okay. My theory was that it wasn't actionable advice so that we would go back to them for actionable advice.
Right.
But I feel like give me a teaser taste of something good and then maybe I'll come back for more. But
see, that's really interesting to me because I feel like that is self-defeating if that's what they're doing. Like, in other words, I
don't know if that's what they're doing. Like, it's just like I just want to.
But I think you have to trust your instincts. Like, if they're telling you stuff that's not actionable, it's not because they don't know what they're talking about or they wouldn't have this job. There's got to be some reason for it. Are they holding back the information because they want? Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I don't teach puppy stuff, but I teach other stuff.
I feels like there's money in it. So
right. Yeah.
Sorry, that just reminded me. One of those dog behaviorists that was $1,000 and not available till August was going to be via Zoom anyway. And we were like, fuck that. Like, I want you here in person. Like, only so much. It's a dog. He's not going to tell you how he feels. You need to see him. And you know what I'm saying?
I feel like it's hard. My understanding is it's hard to get dogs to pay attention on Zoom. You know? I mean, I've heard that about kids, but dogs, I hear it's even worse. That a lot of dogs are just like, I don't do the fucking Zoom thing.
Right. They're like, text me, bro.
Right.
But anyway, we had kind of a bad taste in our mouth about that place.
Oh, wait, sorry. Can I just finish what I was going to say about those people? No. It's like, I will tell, like, people will say to me, like, what about this in my script or my pilot or whatever?
Oh, and you don't say like, once you take my course.
Yeah. Like I don't feel like I would be like, it just doesn't make sense to go, well, I think
Buy
what
my
you got to
book.
do is you got to write words and then put them in order.
Right.
You got to put words in the right order. And, I have more to say about that, but you got to find out, like, it's like, I would say, do this, this, and this in the hopes that the person would be like, this guy fucking knows what he's talking about. I want to hear more from this person,
Right.
I don't know. But again, I'm not a dog trainer. So
No.
the hell do I know?
But you still can be. There's time.
Down. That works as a dog trainer and as a quilt salesman. All right. Go ahead.
But so we had sort of a bad taste in our mouth about them, but our trainer that we like at Petco likes them. We also don't want to wait till September to like walk our dog.
Yeah, that's too long.
And also everyone's like, oh, you got to do it now before it's a locked in problem.
Right.
And I'm like,
right.
Okay, can I do it now then? Like it's like this weird catch-22. But we got on the phone with her, and it was like, I think it was one of the women we actually did talk to at the puppy social, and it was vibe-wise completely different. Like she was so empathetic and listening, and she's like, oh well, this is urgent then you need your help right away. And she's like, it's too bad because we're kind of busy right now. And Jeff and I looked at each other, and she's like, we might be able to meet with him next week. And we're like, so she's coming to our house on the 15th.
Either next week or 2 years from Friday.
Right. But like, I think to her, that was a long time. Like she felt such urgency that she needed to meet with him like the next day.
Right.
And I was like, this is the help and the urgency we.
Yeah.
So she's coming here for an hour and a half on the 15th to spend some time with him. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have some like a path forward. We've also been doing a ton of like command training with him, and he's really a good boy. Like he's really good at come and sit and spin. And because we can trust him a little bit now more, we go out in the parking area behind our apartment. When I didn't know if he was just going to run away 100%, like I felt uncomfortable even having him run outside.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's getting more exercise, which I think is good for his mental health.
So sorry, I got confused for a second. So you're letting him run outside without a leash or anything like that?
Yes.
In the yard though.
Yeah, look, it's like gated. He's safe. But before we knew him well enough, I didn't even feel comfortable doing that.
You didn't know if he could just fly over the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and for a while there, he wasn't even allowed outside at all. And so
that I remember. Yes.
So we're letting him run around, and then we were doing commands out, like, and he's amped when he's outside because it's like a brand new thing, and he's
mask or no mask.
He's not wearing
just
a mask
around his neck.
Yeah.
Signaling.
But we started doing like come and sit even outside in that amped state, and he was nailing it. So I'm like, this is a good dog. We just have to figure out a way for him to
do an impression of Charlton Heston at the end of Planet of the Apes. God damn it, Smudgy.
To not be scared of this dang leash, and like we're golden. So yeah, there's a lot more optimism in the house. Oh, also, this was the big thing for me, at least, because I've been wrestling with like, okay, so do we keep trying the leash a little bit? Like not trying at all, is that fucking him up by having him have no exposure? Or am I just re-traumatizing him? Honestly, which is worse for him? I don't know. And the trainer was like, put the leash away.
And you don't feel like you could just ask him?
No, he's a baby. He's not good at communicating.
He's still finding his words.
And if it were up to him, he'd say, yeah, put the leash away. But like, I'm trying to be the boss. But the trainer was like, put the leash away, put all of the gear away until we meet together so that we're not like freaking him out anymore. And I was like, it just felt nice to be like, happily. I don't have to feel guilty about not doing that right now. So.
Right. It's nice when somebody else takes the decision off your plate and is like, nope, you don't have to think about that.
And I spent the whole morning watching clips from Caesar Milan. So like I'm really down the like rabbit hole of how to be energetically with Spongy.
Hey, once you start watching those clips of anything, it becomes incredibly compelling, I think.
100%.
I went down a rabbit hole. I went down a rabbit hole last night of I mean, this kind of goes back to what, in a way, what
Spartacus?
we were talking about before. No. I mean, I guess in a way, sort of. But the algorithm pushes stuff on you, and for some reason, and I don't know why.
It's a mirror that I'm not always
right. For some reason, it pushed on me, probably because I've been watching a lot of Knicks highlights from the early 90s, and there was a lot of like aggressiveness and pushing and shoving and
so it's like
argumentativeness.
Yeah.
Well, no. The thing it was pushing on me, and I went, and again, like I clicked on one, and then it was like, here's another. It was all like little league fights with parents. No, like
the parents
umps and parents, like soccer and baseball, and like, and it was crazy.
And there's no stakes. Like these people are insane.
And that's what sometimes the umpires would be saying that. Like they'd be like, there was one girl, she was a young, like 15, 16, reffing a game.
Oh my God.
And a father was really going after her. Yeah. And he was just being a dick. And she was like, these kids are 10 years old. Let them have fun. What's wrong with you? She was kicking him out of the game, and he wouldn't leave. And he kept like, it was just it was so nasty. And she was very upset. And she clearly was like,
she's
on the verge of tears, of course. And so then he started going after her, like, I see you're gonna cry, girl. You're gonna cry, aren't you, girl? And she was like, what did you call me? Like, it was just crazy.
What an asshole.
That these adults
and that poor kid, like,
yeah. Oh,
there's no way that's not like permanently.
But of course, what it made me think about was these were all things that were uploaded 2 years ago. And
like, where are those people now?
Well, no. We were talking last week about all these people going crazy on planes and like fighting the people in charge. And there was another one this week. I don't know if you saw that, where a guy like lost his mind on a plane flight and like charged the cockpit and was like, turn the plane around. We have to go, stop the plane.
We are not
No. And so I was just thinking, like, as these kids go back to playing games and stuff, it's going to be 10 times worse, 20 times worse, 30 times worse, with parents being incredible assholes to the people who are just trying to help these kids have fun, Anyway, Smudgy. So Smudgy, tell me about Smudgy.
I did. But yeah, Jeff and I like to joke about.
Oh, you were watching Caesar Milan videos. That's
that. We like to joke about like being like stage parents or something, like when this well-trained behaviorist finally comes to our house to be like, okay, so we want him to skateboard. Like insane requests.
Here is a pack of menthol cigarettes. Right. It would be ideal if he could light them himself, but as long as he can just smoke them, that's fine.
So that's fun. And also we go for a lot of drives with him because that's the main way all three of us can get out of the house.
Yeah.
More than the yard. And we're always like, I think it's really funny, like giving him a tour of the city, like we are telling our son about our personal history. So, but it's always like inane things, like, okay, Smudgy, that's the El Pollo Loco that I used to go to a lot on my lunch break, but I don't work there anymore, so I haven't been to that El Pollo Loco in a lot. Or like,
and by the way, Smudgy, in case you're not doing Duolingo classes, it means crazy chicken.
Right, exactly. And we went on like a long rant where I think we were explaining to him photosynthesis. Like it's and like, and Jeff kept being like, Smudgy, I don't think you're listening. I find it really funny.
The point is, if they don't get sunlight, they don't create oxygen.
Right. And that's what it was. That's why it came up.
Life is a cycle, Smudgy.
We were driving through Glendale today, not to brag, and we would say like, oh, we went to that restaurant once and had a pizza. It was just okay, like that kind of thing. And
I'm sorry, but this is making me think that it'd be funny if you're like Jeff goes, we went there once, we had a pizza, it was just okay, and you're like, just okay, it was good. No, it was not good.
And we fight.
And like re-traumatizing Smudgy by fighting over the pizza you had in Glendale when you're just for a drive.
But so then we got deeper into Glendale, and I was like, oh, Smudgy, your mom used to do a lot of sketch comedy, and I would have rehearsals here. And then I was like, wait a minute, do you know what sketch comedy is? And Jeff was like, I don't think he does. So can you explain it to him? And then I was like, well, have you seen SNL? And Jeff was like, I don't think he has. I'm like, okay. Well, it's like, short scenes, and it's
let me start simple. Do you know, Smudgy, do you know what a cardboard laptop is?
So like we did that for like, a half an hour of explaining the differences between sketch comedy and improv comedy. And it makes me laugh.
Yeah. That's fun. Smudgy, I don't know if that's, but whatever.
I'm just like, I don't think he's listening.
Yeah.
He's like,
and at least
his head's out the window.
You have a clearer idea now of what sketch comedy is because you're trying to explain it to a dog.
Right.
Teaching is always a good way to get clearer ideas in your head about what you're...
Yeah, because I was like, often there are really well-drawn characters and relationships, but the focus is more on the joke and the comedy. It's not really plot-driven as much. He's like, oh, okay.
Smudgy's first words are cardboard laptop.
So yeah, I guess that's my checking in. It's been an hour, so we're doing okay. What's going on with you? Besides Spartacus?
Well, I don't know if I talked about this on the show before, but a little over a month ago, I noticed that there was a rooster living across the street who was very noisy. That's how I noticed it.
I wish that listeners knew where you lived, because that's more insane than they think.
Just wait.
It's not. There's like
it's a highly densely populated area. It is not rural. There's no yards. Houses. There's no So anyway, I woke up one day and I heard a rooster crowing at 5 a.m. or whatever. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is not okay. Anyway, I was very upset about it. I mean, not very upset, but I was like, oh, great. Like, how's this going to go? Probably not well. It just seems like I'm all in favor of, being self-sufficient. If you want to get chickens and have your own eggs and so forth.
But roosters can't even help you with that.
Well, they can in a way, like
they do have.
They're part of the process. Yeah. I don't know if you know about the birds and the chickens, but anyway, I assumed when I heard the rooster that he was part of a group, that it wasn't just a solo rooster, that there were
a pet rooster,
that there were other chickens involved, A few days went by, the rooster was crowing, didn't hear it for a few days. I was like, okay, maybe there was somebody was just hungry and they, whatever.
Somebody's rooster was visiting for the weekend.
Right. They'd been away for the whole pandemic. They came into town for a bit and then they were going to. Well, no, it turns out that this has progressed to the point where last week I realized that in the building across the street. So just to clarify what you're saying and what I was saying before about how densely populated this area is, I would say within a 100-foot radius of the front door of my apartment, there are probably 6 apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And figure there's, I don't know, 20 to 40 apartments in each building. So that's somewhere between 100 and 200 residences in that area that are all affected by this.
I might be remembering this wrong, but there's not even like lawns in front of the apartment buildings. Like it's like building.
Right. Although I'll get into that in a second. Okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is building. No building. But,
no whammy.
But anyway, I look out a couple of days, like I hear, I guess it was last week, I hear, again, middle of the day now, not middle of the night, middle of the day. Wrong. But apparently they some of these roosters are just like party animals and they just do it all the time.
They just like to sing.
They don't have a regular schedule, you know? So it's making a lot of noise. It's very close to where I am. And
I look at someone's apartment.
That's what I assumed. I figured it was in somebody's place. I look out the window and I see across the street. Now there isn't a yard, but there's like a little dirt patch area right outside, like not maybe 5 or 6 feet wide, right outside this apartment that then drops off on a wall to the street. Like it's sort of a berm almost. Mm-hmm. And I look and there's a person sitting on the berm with a chicken in their lap, like a cat, like a Bond villain, petting the chicken like a cat. And the chicken is making all sorts of noise. And then I realized that's not the only chicken. There's 2 more chickens wandering around this little berm area. So I'm like,
what's going on?
Kidding me?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yes. So
it was hard for me to find an apartment that okayed dogs. I'm just putting it out there. People have like a whole roost of chickens.
Yes. Except the key thing you're missing, or the key thing that you're looking, the part.
I'm definitely doing something wrong.
We'll get to that. So the next thing that happens is I go for a walk one night. I think this is how it went down. I go for a walk one night and I realize there's somebody sitting in a Range Rover parked on the street. And there are chicken coops inside the Range Rover. There are a bunch of chicken coops and the chickens are in there. They're in the car. The person is parked, sitting on the street with the chickens in the car, just hanging out. Right. I'm like, this is crazy. Now I'm Googling, Google is your friend in this situation. Like, who do I talk to about this? Is there something I can do?
What do you even type in like neighbor has chickens?
Or like, I live at 1244 32nd Avenue in Hollywood, and does there, what are the regulations there as far as chickens?
And other neighbors have to be noticing.
Exactly. So it's like, obviously it's the internet, so you get a million opinions. Here's what you need to do. Start watching Cesar Millan videos about training chickens. So the 2 suggestions are animal control and the Hollywood Police Department.
Ugh.
And I have not done either of those things yet.
Because they both feel like adding chaos into the community.
But they also, you and I have had an experience with you more than me have had an experience with the Hollywood Police Department.
They don't do anything.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and they definitely don't care about chickens.
So I'm like, what? And I knew that I had a homeowners meeting coming up.
Oh.
With everybody in my building on Zoom. I say everybody in my building. There's like, I don't know, 50 people that live in the building. I think there were 7 people at the one annual, like it was a poor showing. Everybody was just looking for an excuse not to come. But at the meeting, they opened up the homeowners forum and who has things they want to bring up. And I'm on Zoom. I raised my hand the way you do when you're being polite, and everybody laughed like, oh, you don't have to raise your hand, you can just chime in. And I was like,
but then everyone be talking at the same time.
I said, does anybody know anything about the chickens across the street? And everybody was like, oh, let me tell you about the chickens. I
was scared that they were going to say like, what? No. Chickens? You're crazy.
So one of the people who lives here said, she was like, I finally talked to the person who owns the chickens, and it's a long story, but I talked to animal control, I talked to the police, and I'll give you, she was like, I'll tell you in person, I'll tell you all the details. It's a long saga, but it's all taken care of. They're not going to be back there. It's done. It's over. The problem is solved. So don't worry about it. And we don't need to worry about it. And I said, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure. And see, my problem is, I have many problems, but one of them is when I start to get into a situation like that, I probably am overly confrontational right away. And I'm also like 5 times the size of any other human being.
So it escalates.
Feels super aggressive. Yeah. So I'm always hesitant to get into those situations. But anyways,
also you wait so long that you are like steaming by the time. So it's like a
fair point. Absolutely.
No, I'm not. I'm saying like I simmer and
simmer and simmer until I boil over, and then I decide instead of just like, hey, what's up with your?
Excuse me, sir.
I definitely had that thought one day when I was driving out of my driveway. I was like, I should just like wave out the window and go, hey, tell me about your chickens. But I didn't do that. Anyway,
why the fuck do you have chickens?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it'd come out anyway.
Totally. So that was on Wednesday. Today is Saturday. So Wednesday, it was like, it's all taken care of. Don't worry about it. And I was
it will never come back.
I went to sleep on Wednesday night. I was very content and happy. And of course, I was awakened at 5 a.m. by the chickens, and they didn't stop all day. And this person was sitting in their car on the street with the chickens in the car.
So was the solution that they could have the chickens in their car and not in the yard?
I guess, because apparently in Los Angeles, you are allowed to live in your car and you are allowed to live with animals in your car. So if you have a legal parking spot, there's nothing that anybody can do to tell you that that's not allowed. Now, I just want to see if I can.
Cruel to chickens too. Though.
I agree. I just want to see if I can. Let me see if I can do this, because I took a video this morning. This morning I was again awakened at 4 a.m. by the chickens. How do I? Let's see. Share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, great. Here.
Is there a way to do it? We should cut this out when we release the episode.
I think you should be able to do it now.
Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go.
What, did I have a nice like open jaw?
Okay, so this is not my bedroom window. This is my office window. So it's sort of at an oblique angle. And what you're looking at is literally right outside my bedroom window. And this I took at 7 this morning. This is what awakened me at 4 was this.
I'm not getting sound, I think, because of your headphones, unfortunately.
Oh, there's no reason to watch it without the sound, because that's the whole point.
But wait, where are they? In that red one?
Yeah. Let me see if I disconnect my headphones, what happens. Or let's see what happens if I do this.
We're good. Oh my God.
So anyway,
It sounds a little bit like robot chickens, but I get the idea. There's a little delay.
that's constant. It's just outside all the time.
It's actually
Non-stop.
closer than in the apartment.
Oh yeah, it's right outside my window. So, and of course, before
you're
I
not
even
allowed to leave a dog in a car. Like, how are they okay?
Well, she's in the car with them. So
all day long?
This is the other thing
my God.
that I assume. So I've gotten more information since Wednesday. So when this person said on Wednesday, it's a long story, I'll tell you all the details. I then emailed this morning at 4 a.m. and said, I would like to hear the details. I presume there is some mental illness involved, because the fact that you said it was all taken care of on Wednesday and that it clearly has not been taken care of indicates to me that this is a person who doesn't have a full grip on reality and appropriate behavior and all those things.
How things affect other people.
And I have sympathy for that. But at the same time, like you said, it affects other people. It affects 100 people living in that space. And, I was able to deal with it because I closed all the windows and cranked up a noise machine and turned on the AC and, but like, I don't want to have to do that all the time, you know? And there is definitely more to the story, which is like, apparently this is a thing that the guy across the street has done a number of times, where he's become involved with people who are drug addicts and alcoholics and mentally ill. And he's like, oh, you can come and stay here, not with me, but in my general vicinity, and I will do what I can to help you out, which is compassionate and kind, except that it does impact
other people,
everybody else. And I don't care about them. I care about myself. That's all I care about.
Sure.
So anyway, it's, I'm sorry for this person that their life is such that they live in a Range Rover with chickens on the street. That is not the way someone should be living.
It isn't how chickens should be living.
But that's not how they should be living. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it is not cool for the chickens, and it's not cool for the person. Like, that person needs help. They need to be helped somehow. And I don't know how it's going to shake out, because like I said, it's been reported to animal control. It's been reported to the police, and they don't care.
Right.
Like, they're not interested in being involved. And
it sounds like they like a loophole, like there's no rule that a dog can't play basketball.
Right. You're talking about Air Bud, the movie?
Sure. Okay. What did you get the longer story? Or are you?
No. Just what I've told you. Like, this woman said, I talked to the woman. She then, so she emailed me back when this is, who cares? But like, I did not have her email. So I emailed somebody else in the building and I said, can you send this to her? And I basically said what I said to you, which is like, I assume there's mental illness involved, and I'm really sorry about that. And I sympathize. I'm just wondering if there's any way that this can ultimately be solved. And this person who had dealt with this woman on the street said to me, or emailed me back and said, I spoke with her. She's not just like, she's oppositional. In other words, she does not wish to hear what you have to say about her chicken. So it's not worth trying to have a discussion about it or convincing her that maybe this isn't the right thing to be doing, because she knows that she's okay staying there, and she knows that the guy across the street said it was okay. So it doesn't matter what other people say. This is how it is. And she is
forever
aggressively confrontational about that. And which, as I've already stated, I'm not interested in, like I said, I'm just big and scary to people. And so I don't want to get into it with somebody on the street. And anyway, so this woman said, like, it's worth calling the police. It's worth calling animal control just so we can keep bugging them about it and write to your city council member and blah, 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 blah. But it seems like there's no immediate solution. They did say talk to a chicken owner behavioral therapist, and I called
there's a wait
two of
list.
them, and they're booked until the end of August. So, and that's too long. Too long. So anyway, that's and it's just like, I don't know. That's my office. That's where I write. And do I want to sit there and listen to, and like I said, I can crank up the music or put the headphones on or whatever, but it's just like, and the freaking chickens are living in a Range Rover,
That's weird.
And this poor woman who clearly has not had a good life. The email I got said this woman apparently is in her mid-20s and she looks 50 because of the stuff that's gone on in her life, or maybe it didn't say 50, it said 48 or 49 or something like that. But
Sure.
It's just not a good situation for her, for the chickens, for anybody living here. And yet I don't know what the answer is, so the drama continues. Man. Yeah.
We both have animal drama. I can't wait to hear.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's take a break for a minute and then I don't know, maybe we come back. Well, I mean, I have more stuff to talk about, but maybe it can all be part of parting shots,
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Do I pause it?
I don't know. I think you do. Yeah, I think you do. Okay. I think it's separated into 2 segments.
Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Sean, and of course we're taking a little break on the show, so I thought I would use this time slightly differently from the way I usually do. Usually I'll plug, our Twitter feed, or I'll desperately try to get you to post a rating or a review on iTunes. I thought this time I would sort of say that, but also say that why would you do that? Why would you post a rating or review on iTunes? Or why would you post a review? Why would you take the time out of your day to actually write anything about the show? Well, what if I read it on our show like this? Here's an iTunes review for the Long Shot Podcast from December 4th, 2020 by Los Gatos 74. And the headline is, "Love This Show." What am I supposed to do? Read a bad review? I was heartbroken when this show ended last year and was ecstatic when the show recently returned. Seriously, folks, give this podcast a listen. The hosts are so open and honest about their lives, you begin to feel over time that you know them, and you find yourself really caring about them and their ups and downs in life and their careers. Sean, please do not critique my grammar, although I am certain that you have already done so. Much love, Lo Show Po. Well, thank you, Los Gatos 74, or I guess it's, I don't know how to say 74 in Spanish, I'm sorry. But I appreciate you writing all that. I did not critique your grammar out loud. So write us a review, and who knows? Maybe I'll read it during one of our breaks, or even during the show. Anyway, back to Amber. Which of course became ruin, even though it was sealed on the melting pot that believe it or not.
And we're back.
Love it.
With a segment that I like to call parting shots.
Right.
Sean, what's going on with you? Parting shots.
Well, I'm always paying attention to what's going on in the world, and none of it's good. I just was really thinking this week, and last night in particular, just about what it would be like to be Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is just a target at this point for hatred and rage for no reason except that they need targets. Like, they need to direct the anger and the rage at something specific, you know? So here's a guy who's 80 years old, or maybe he's even 81 by now, maybe 82 or 3 or 4.
Let's move on to the next part of the story.
He might be 79. I don't know. No, he's 80 years old. He's lived this incredible life. He's worked his fucking ass off for years and years to help people. And he is, in the mind of a lot of people in this country, he is public enemy number 1, or as they say on Duolingo, numero 1.
The owls cleaned the kitchen floor.
Well, it's funny. Owls. Talk about owls. He went to Regis High School, which is their mascot is the owl.
Oh wow!
But
it's all connected.
Yeah, you know, he I saw a thing last night. Somebody retweeted a Donald Trump Jr. something that was on his like Instagram stories. And it was a meme, and it was Leonardo DiCaprio from Django Unchained, and the caption on it was something like, "I'm going to jump out ahead on this one and say that Dr. Fauci didn't kill himself." And I just find that so disturbing and so deeply, deeply hateful and irresponsible.
Yeah.
Because what he's saying is someone's going to kill Dr. Fauci. We know that's going to happen, but they're going to, because he knows things. Fauci knows what's really going on. Like, he's covered up for the Chinese. He's working with the Chinese. He's a communist agent. He's against the, Trump administration. He's deep state. So somebody's going to murder him. But because he's deep state, they're going to make it look like a suicide so that nobody goes down for it. But, I don't know. It's so twisted and complicated.
Right. But it also reads kind of as a threat in a way.
100%. It's saying like his murder needs to happen. It's going to happen, Right. And on top of which, it's also a reference to Jeffrey Epstein, who was pals with Donald Trump. Like, it's fucking wild that this is the world we live in, where shit like this goes on. And it's just like, well, it's Donald Trump Jr. Who gives a shit? Maybe he runs for governor in Florida, or he may run for president. Who knows? And it's just like, that's how it is. It's really upsetting to me because it's upsetting. Like, it is upsetting.
Because you're a person.
Right. I don't have to get into why. It's upsetting. And then there's the stuff this week about like, and I, again, part of it is just being inside and by myself. And there's only so many episodes of Spartacus I can watch. So I do see other things sometimes. But there was that whole thing last week where of Michael Flynn, the former, General Flynn, the former national security advisor, who was national security advisor for 17 days until he was forced to resign because he was a fucking stooge for the Russians, basically. Was at a QAnon thing last weekend. And somebody said, why can't the thing that happened in Myanmar happen here? Now, everybody's made fun of this guy for saying Myanmar when in fact he meant Myanmar, but who cares about that? Right. He was basically saying, why can't we just have a military coup here in the United States? It's on tape. This guy saying this tape. It's on reel to reel. Yeah. This guy saying this.
You have to rewind it, but you can get
and then Flynn goes, there's no reason it can't. It should happen here. This is on video. And so it was reported on the news. And then the next day, Flynn came out and said, I never said that. I never encouraged a coup. I am not guilty of doing the things that I am on tape doing. And so it's all, I think, ultimately a strategy of like making people like me give up. go like, I feel crazy. And so I can't care about this, and let them do what they want. Like, let them do what they want, because it's making me feel crazy. And I don't want to feel like that anymore. It's very frustrating. And I was thinking about the approach to things by both sides. And it feels like the approach at this point is, one side's approach is basically, there are a lot of problems in the world and you have some of them, and let's try to figure out how to solve some of those problems. And let's try to do that together. Let's use the forces we have to solve problems for people.
The communal good.
Yeah, whether it's, two people doing a dumb podcast or somebody living in their car with chickens, like whoever it is, let's find a way to help these people.
Wait, are we the ones who need help?
Come on. Have you heard this show at all? And then the other side is like, their philosophy is, you have enemies and they are trying to take everything from you. You need to find a way to destroy them. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely a middle ground, but I also feel like those two positions are not equivalent. Like, they're not two sides of the same coin. One is evil and one is not evil.
Well, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but what just went through my head is like, oh, that's like the dark side. That's Darth Vader recruiting the
Luke,
the stormtroopers or whatever. Like, it's
look, let me tell you something. Darth Vader does not hang out in stormtrooper recruiting stations. Okay. He's not, that's like way lower level guys doing that.
No, what I mean is, again, this is so naive of me, but like when you watch movies like that, when there's just like such like
Have you thought about going to college?
Like such like a clear evil and a clear good. Yeah. And I know real life isn't that black and white.
No, it's not. And that's one of the problems is I think the people saying we have problems, let's try to solve some of those
saying
problems.
Like shades of gray. There's nuance here.
Whereas the other side is saying they are evil. They are bad. They are trying to take what you have, kill them, murder them, destroy them, make their lives miserable. And that's a much clearer distinction.
It's easier to latch onto.
Right.
It takes less work.
It's very simple. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is like, when I would watch movies like that, the fact that the evil guy has this army of supporters was always like, why wouldn't you just say like that guy's evil? And it's funny to see in real life how that happens, basically. Like,
well, yes. And again, not to go back to the thought experiment idea, but when we were talking last week about that, it's like, if I am the person that is being told over and over again, there are bad people trying to take everything from you. And if I believe that, then I'm not evil if I want to destroy those people, because I don't want somebody to take everything I have. That's false. But if I believe it, then it makes sense that I'm going to go, yeah, let's fucking grab a hockey stick and bash a cop's head in so we can get into the Capitol and do the right thing,
Be heroes.
Now I'm getting myself upset.
Also, another chunk out of context could get us in a lot of trouble.
I just want to play what he said on his podcast. Like, there's no actual photos of him from the Capitol, but there are a lot of hockey sticks. Yeah. So wouldn't it make sense that he was one of the people with a hockey stick? He talked about how he's big and scary. He talks about how he wanted to take a hockey stick and bash a cop's head in. But I mean, and to go one step further back to what you were saying about sports versus theater, it's like, why are they driving these people to that? They're doing it for money, for the sake of money, to make money. Tucker Carlson wants more money.
Well, and if they're mad about this, they won't notice this.
I heard a thing today, or not today, but this week, and I probably had heard it before, but I don't remember it. But it's from Tucker Carlson from years ago, of him saying, I don't have to work. I've been rich my whole life. There's no reason for me to be working. Like, I don't need a job. But yet he is all about, making as much money as possible from as many people as possible. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just like feeling a little crazy and upset about all this stuff. And I guess to go back to what I was saying, like I did last night, it just was heartbreaking to think about Anthony Fauci I'm sure he's fine. Like he's dealt with shit for years and years and whatever, but imagine knowing that there are people out there who feel the way these people feel about him, that he is the enemy of everything they hold dear and true. And, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
He's an interesting figure.
And he's 79, I think, or 8, like he's 80 or 81.
Yeah, right. But he's been the enemy number one of both sides within his career.
Right.
Because he was like standing in the way of the AIDS crisis until he had his sort of mind changed about it. So I don't know. It's just wild. He's had, doesn't sound like a fun career, but I don't know. No.
But at least he played for the Owls in between cleaning kitchen floors with them. He was an owl. Maybe that's the Owls they're talking about. Maybe the Owls clean the kitchen floor is about Fauci being an agent for the Chinese.
Yes. It's all there. It's all right in front of you.
It's a code phrase. The Owls are cleaning the kitchen floor. Launch the bombs.
And we're going to spread that message via Duolingo. They have to get to like level 14 or whatever. But
hey, there's always cutouts. There's always people in between. Nobody wants to get caught for anything.
Sure.
I also had this is going to sound even more crazy, but I had a weird epiphany this week, not to steal from Jamie.
Wow.
And I don't know why. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I don't know why this popped into my head, but I just had the thought one morning. Maybe it's because I was not sleeping because the chickens were making so much noise, but it just occurred to me sort of out of the blue, like writing is not just something you can do. A writer is something you can be, and that is what I am and have always been. And I don't think I've ever thought about it like that before, that this is who I am versus this is a thing I do. Because there's lots of things I do. I don't know. I don't know if that even makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. And then there's no one can take that away from you. Like whether you have a job in a writer's room or not, you are a
can't
writer.
Take that away from me.
You know what I'm saying? If it's who you are.
I didn't even think about it like that. But yeah, you're right. Like it is a thing. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not because I am getting a paycheck for this thing that I am this thing. And only when I'm getting a paycheck for it is it what I am. It is what I am all the time. And sometimes I am getting paid for it and sometimes I'm not. Right. But this is, I guess, it was like, and this is probably one of the reasons, as I was reading somebody's book about writing, and he was talking about two things. He was talking about how he has always approached the world. This guy, I don't know this guy. Like, I guess he's been pretty successful in Hollywood, but I don't know anything about him. Stephen King, but he no, it wasn't Stephen King, but
Hollywood. But, I mean, yes.
but a lot of the stuff he was writing, and I've only read like the first 2 chapters of the book, but a lot of it, which is hilarious to me, is all about his inability to deal with women. Like it's all about like, I can't talk to women. I can't,
Oh, boy.
but I know how to like create characters, and that's where I'm comfortable and whatever.
I can control women with my pen.
Well, he doesn't even say that,
Yummy!
but probably that's part of it. But he does say like, it's easier for me to make friends with people that I make up than it is to make friends with people in real life. But I relate to that, you know, like I get that. I get that idea of like, it's not so much that it's easier to make friends, at least for me, which I don't, you know, it's not, I don't know how to make friends, but no, but I just was thinking, like, he was talking about his approach to life. And I was like, this is a thing that I've always been aware of, where I have felt like I am observing rather than participating most of the time. Like I'm watching other people do things rather than being a part of what is being done, which isn't true, but that's always how it feels.
Yeah, you have a joke about that even in your stand-up.
I don't remember because I haven't done stand-up in 11 years now, but
no, but about like being the guy at the party.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, where, you know, and like it goes all the way back to childhood, where that's like how I have always perceived the world, is that I am outside this looking at what other people are doing. Yes. And so that is and then there was something else, and I don't remember what it was. But anyway, it just was a weird moment to have that perception all of a sudden of like, oh, this is a thing that I am, you know.
What did that epiphany do for you? Like, do you feel better, worse?
I don't know. I feel, yeah,
empowered?
I can't, certainly not that. More just like, this makes it not an epiphany, just a fleeting thought, but it's more like, like, I guess I don't know why I never thought about it like that before. You know, that's part of what it is this has been true for so long.
Right.
But, and, you know, I have been making my living as a writer in Hollywood for 15 years.
Right.
But I never thought about it like that. I never was like, I am a writer. This is the thing that I do, you know? And maybe even part of it is like, maybe this is good, is like, that's not a thing you can do. Or sorry, that's not a thing you can do. You can do that, but you can't be that, you know? But now I'm like, oh, I can be that. That is a thing you can be.
Like you almost need to be like given permission to be it, or like knighted, you are a writer or something.
Right. Like, when does it become true?
Right. When
oh, wait, it was always true.
Right.
You know?
We're saying the same thing.
Even if it was not something I was aware of, it was, or not aware of in so many words, it was always true in my relationship with the world, you know?
Wow.
I don't know. Can we cut all that out?
No, absolutely not. Also, Aaron's not here.
Oh. You can edit it, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my parting shot.
That's cool. That's a good one.
I guess.
I should have gone first.
Why?
Because mine's gonna be like, cheese is weird, you know, like.
Have you ever listened to this show before? I love roasted vegetables. Oh, let me just do that before you go into yours. I will say I ate very healthy this week, and I was very proud of myself for it. Like, I made a conscious effort. I ate like oatmeal and chicken and broccoli and sweet potatoes, and that was it for the most part for the entire week. A lot of fruit. I love how people are always like, you can't eat too much fruit because it's got a lot of sugar in it. And I'm like, it's fucking fruit. It's fine.
It's still better than Doritos or candy.
Exactly. So I did not feel bad about eating a bunch of cherries and blueberries, you know.
That's great.
And I feel like that definitely has, I don't know, we'll see. It bodes well for the future that this was something that I was comfortable with, you know?
Well, and it probably made you just feel better, like mentally.
No.
Nah. No, you ate a freaking blueberry and then you're like, I am a writer. So
I am a blueberry. Wait, what? Yeah, you might be right. That could be why, that I actually ate a healthy diet for an entire week, and that led to all this
like you could
change in my brain. Yeah. Look, people need help. There are no enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a blueberry. I am a writer. All right. I just wanted to get into that because we talked about roasted vegetables. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Parting shot. So I had a memory pop up this week from 6th grade, maybe even 5th grade. Let's just go with 6th grade, that I hadn't thought about in so long. So while we were eating dinner, Jeff put on a mix called like 90s jams. And he's like, oh, this next one's a banger. And it was.
So you put on 90s jams and 90s lingo.
Right. Yes. And it was Walking in the Middle of the Night by Billy Joel. I don't know if that's the title. The one that
go walking in my dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh my God, Jeff, did I ever tell you this story? And he's like, no, what? I was like, I have such a deep relationship with this song. So I know you're looking up the song right now and not listening to me, and that's okay.
What?
So
no, I'm just trying to figure out what the song is, and I can't. But
so in 6th grade, there was a talent show, and I inexplicably, as like a young girl,
12,
younger. I started kindergarten when I was 4.
11. That's why I'm not sure if Fauci is 79 or 80 or 81
right.
Because
you don't know what the cutoff was for kindergarten. I was obsessed with the song. So the talent show came up and I was like, I'm going to do an interpretive dance to this 90s Billy Joel song, like peak Billy Joel, the 90s.
I'm sure we've talked about this before, but I would say I have seen in concert Billy Joel more than any other artist. Like I've been to, I haven't been to a million concerts, but I've been to concerts in my day. And I would say out of everybody I've ever seen more than once, Billy Joel is the one I've seen more than once, the most.
Oh my God. I am a writer.
But he lost me at a certain point in the 90s. Like once he got into that Christy Brinkley shit, Uptown Girl, all that, I was like, nope. Sorry, pal, I'm not with you anymore.
That's when I was like, yeah, sign me up.
That was garbage.
That's when I locked in.
Mm-hmm.
In my defense, I was 11.
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my dreams.
Yeah, I go walking in my sleep.
Okay, well, you say dreams, I say sleep. You say sleep, I say dreams. You say sleep, I say dreams. Dreams, sleep, dreams, sleep. Anyway, go ahead.
And because I was 11 years old and maybe didn't have the greatest grasp of metaphors, I made 2 friends do this dance with me. We all wore pajamas. And then I put like zombie makeup on them, like we were asleep, like white faces with like dark under eyes. Right. And we did this like serious interpretive dance to Billy Joel song. That's insane. That's an insane thing to do because all the other girls doing a dance in this talent show were doing like cute hip hop dances to like pop songs.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, exactly. And like wearing cute outfits. And when I heard that song, it like hit me like a freight train. Where
rape me. Somebody else doing
where
interpretive. Like, you're being too literal with that interpretive dance.
Oh God. But it feels very me. Like it's just like, wow, that is so insane. that is so me.
Yeah. Yeah, because anybody doing other interpretive dance, like what you're saying is those people were doing artists that were 90s artists.
Right.
Billy Joel was a 70s artist who was still putting out music in the 90s.
Right.
And it was not his good music. Like his good music was in the past at that point. 52nd Street is an incredible album.
Right. I mean, case in point, when Jeff said the next one is a banger, he was joking. It was a joke.
Right? Yeah, but you know, the good thing about that is like you were at a point in your life where you did not care what other people thought enough to give two
I would
shits.
like to get that back a little bit.
Me too, man. I feel like 6th grade was the greatest year of my life. It was the last time that I was like
self-aware.
Yeah, I was like, I'm living out loud. This is what I am. This is
what I
am
like,
a writer.
Like. Yeah, exactly. And then you get into junior high and you're like, so what do you guys think is cool? Me too. It was
over. It was all fucking over. And it's been over ever since then. You know?
Yeah.
That was a seminal year. And I don't mean, well, whatever. But yeah, I think that is what it is. It's like you're at that point in your life where you are not at all self-aware.
Right. I heard the song and I pictured a dance and I was like, I'm going to choreograph it. I'm going to make my friends do it. I didn't at all be like, is this going to be weird?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's effing do it. And it was weird. Like, it's weird.
In retrospect, yes. At the time,
but I also kind of am in love with that girl for being so weird.
Of course. And also I bet nobody at your school was like sitting in the audience going, this is weird.
No, it was just more like it, if anything, I kind of like your I am a writer thing of like, oh, I always saw things a little bit differently. And that is a positive. Like that's my strength. And I'm trying to like get a better grasp of that in my life right now, I think.
Yeah. Instead of what it's been ever since then.
And like shaming it.
Is this going to be weird?
That just reminded me. I told the story a million times, or not a million times, but I've definitely told the story. But for my friend's 30th birthday, we went to Price is Right on mushrooms. We told the story. But anyway, the thing that stands out from that is at one point I went to the snack bar with my friend Lampy and I wanted to get those peach ring candies. They're like rings that have like sour, they're like sour and have like sugar on the outside. And instead of just buying them, I picked them up and looked at Lampy and I was like, would this be weird? And it's like become a joke between us now, and it's like an inside joke, and I always like will include peach rings in her, like a gift I give her or something like that. But it's like in hindsight, like just buy the stupid peach rings. Like why do you have to check with anyone? What is wrong with you?
Yeah. It feels like that's like a good, you know, autobiography title. Like, is this going to be weird? Will this be weird or something like that?
And probably yes. And who cares? Okay, go with it.
Right. If only we could have embraced that sooner or at all, ever.
Right.
I mean, now here's my question. When you had that realization of like, oh, I've always seen things a little differently. Had you just eaten a blueberry by any chance?
No, I think it would have hit me faster, harder, better if I had just had a blueberry.
Okay. Well, next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, this feels like a good place to take a break. So let's do that.
No, it is not. It's not a good place to take a break.
We'll be back in a moment with more Joe and Jamie. Folks, this has been The Long Shot. Amber is Amber Kenny. You can find her on Twitter at
Amber
underscore Kenny.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know, is it a coincidence, or did they know ahead of time when your parents made your middle name underscore that would be your Twitter handle? I'm on Twitter at Sean Conroy. Please find me there. I'm a writer.
Hell yeah, you are.
I'll say that. And Amber has always seen things a little bit differently.
Cardboard laptop. Case in point.
We'll see you next time on The Long Shot. Bye.